Hi everyone, welcome to Kate Bonnie Country. You can call me Kate Bonnie, and I think everyone knows Taimyr. Today is Taimyr's first groom in the new and improved grooming space. Normally I bathe and groom Taimyr every 6 weeks during the summer, but the grooming space remodel delayed her routine by about 3 weeks. As a result, this groom will be a little bit longer than it normally takes to groom her. Since Taimyr is brushed daily at home, I don't have to go through the normal pre-bath routine. Right here, I'm kind of showing you how I groom her at home. She is very mouthy. She thinks all time is playtime, so I have to get creative when brushing her. First of all, notice that I am wearing my hands-on brand grooming gloves. They are made of neoprene with some very aggressive little rubber nubs on them. They grab the hair, and they also protect my hands from her nipping. I'm just showing you how I normally distract her with a toy while I groom her with the other hand. You might wonder why I don't use my original audio so you can hear me talking to her while I groom her. Well, I tend to listen to copyrighted music while I'm grooming the dogs, and quite frankly, I don't want to get any copyright strikes. So it's usually better if I just do a voiceover after. This is when I decided to put all of her hair into the old tin pail and see how full it is by the time we're done. After a little pre-bath brushing, it was time to put on my rain suit and test out the new bathing sink. Taimyr was a very good girl and climbed in all by herself. I'm going to pause the video for just a moment and apologize if my voice sounds a little different today. Taimyr tried to break my nose last night. I'll tell that story a little later. I shampooed Taimyr twice and conditioned her once. For the first shampoo, I used a combination of Fluff Off De-Shedding shampoo and a new purple shampoo that I am trying out. Since we live in Alabama, red mud is a thing. A purple shampoo will help brighten her coat, so some of that yellow dinchiness acquired from the red mud staining will hopefully disappear. The second shampoo was a flea and tick shampoo. Flea drop day is the 15th of each month, and with Taimyr, it does tend to wear off roughly a week to 10 days before her next flea drop dose is due. I try to coincide her baths with that wear-off time, so the flea and tick shampoo will give her that extra protection for the remaining days. After she was rinsed, I applied some Fluff Off De-Shedding conditioner as well. A de-shedding conditioner helps restore the oils that were stripped off during the bathing process, and the de-shedding formula will help the loose hair release from the rest of her coat during the brushing after she's dried. You might have noticed that Taimyr still hates the hose. She consistently attacks the spray nozzle, so eventually I did decide to remove the nozzle and just use the hose to rinse her. She seems to tolerate that much better. You may have noticed the old metal watering can when you saw the tin pail earlier. I hope to eventually clean both of those up and repaint them to be purple and match some of the other elements in the grooming space. For dogs with double coats, sometimes using a watering can will help the water penetrate their fur better, and it is also gentler on their skin. Going back to my nearly broken nose, I was brushing Taimyr pretty much the same way I showed at the beginning of the video. I was distracting her with a toy and brushing her coat with the other hand. Throod, the 9-year-old lab bully mix, started feeling frisky and a little playful. She came over and started playing with Taimyr. This is when I did the dumb. Instead of stopping and letting them play, I continued to try to brush Taimyr. Throod lunged at Taimyr, and Taimyr sprang back to avoid Throod's attack. The crown of her head made full, forceful contact with my nose. At first I thought it was broken, but this morning when I woke up, I have a little bit of bruising, and my septum is deviated slightly to the left. The bone itself was not broken, the cartilage took all of the damage. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Once her bath was finished, it was time to dry her off. I used 3 towels to get her as dry as possible before moving her to the grooming table. I put on the happy hoodie, and the air drying commenced.
You're a good girl. You're fine. No. Don't make me put a muzzle on you. I will absolutely put a muzzle on you. I will. Hey, no. Hey, no.
As is customary with Taimyr, she kept trying to bite the air dryer hose and nip at me, so of course I had to muzzle her. It took approximately 40 minutes, that's 40 minutes, to dry her. Then it was time to take the happy hoodie and muzzle off, and I did go ahead and give her a treat.
Sit. You want this? Take it nice. No, you're going to have to eat it right here. You're not jumping down. You're going to have to eat it right here. No, you can't run and hide.
Normally when grooming dogs, it's best to start at the neck and work your way back to the tail, saving the feet and face for last. With the way I groom Taimyr, I choose to start with her tail and Sanitary cut. Then I groom her body and face.
You're doing so good. Yes! Look at you. Okay. Stay. Hold.
I finished off her sanitary trim by attaching a 1.5-inch comb guard to my clippers and removed the excess fur from her rump and thighs. Once I had finished her back end, I had to put the muzzle back on. It was time to rake her fur again to remove any additional loosened undercoat. Then I attached a 1-inch comb guard to my clippers and proceeded to trim her coat down. Unfortunately, this video really does not show it, but Taimyr's coat is 2 different lengths. The areas of her coat that are black or dark gray in color tend to grow as a normal husky coat does. However, the white overcoat and most of her undercoat grows in woolly. Left unchecked, the woolly coat bits will grow out to be 8 inches or more. Of course, that would mat up, so I do trim her all over, trying to match the length of the undercoat with the length of the standard coat parts. Since you've made it this far into the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to Cape Bonnie Country. Share this video and the channel with your friends and family. This channel is not possible without viewer support, so please feed the algorithm by writing Fluffy Girl in the comments. A well-fed algorithm pushes my videos out to more viewers. Your support is so greatly appreciated. I am also preparing to launch my second channel, Kate's Country Critters. You can find it on YouTube at Kate's Country Critters 24. Going forward, Kate's Country Critters will feature all of my professional and shelter grooms. Cape Bonnie Country will continue to carry the videos of my dogs and my video essays and commentary from the country perspective of life. By the time I had completed trimming Taimyr's body and around her face, she had been on the table for about an hour. I decided to give her a break and bring her down to the floor to work on her paws and some matting that is formed behind her ears. Most dogs do not like having their paws messed with. Taimyr is no exception. I have learned that she tolerates it better if I go ahead and let her lay down. Yes, that does make it more difficult on me as far as positioning myself and her paws to scoop the excess hair out of her paw pads, but she doesn't bite as much, and in that way, it makes it much easier. I want her grooming to be a positive experience and as comfortable on her as possible. That way she might not fight against it in the future as much as she does now. Normally, Taimyr does not form heavy matting behind her ears. I can usually prevent them from forming through her daily brushing. However, I noticed some forming about a week before this groom. I should have taken care of them right then. With the grooming space still under construction, I was a bad mama and simply did not take the time. The skin behind the ears is very sensitive, so shaving mats out with clippers is generally considered the fastest and gentlest way to get them out. Taimyr seemed to object a bit more than usual. I did not want to put the soft muzzle back on, as the strap would get in the way. Instead, I used rolled gauze to improvise a muzzle and tie it lower on her neck. Since I was not sure if the sound of the clippers right behind her ears was the problem, or if she was experiencing pain or discomfort, I decided to use my letter opener to shave the mats out small bits at a time. You can buy fancy tools with ergonomic comfort grips for $10 to $20, but they are essentially overpriced letter openers. You can buy a letter opener at Walmart for under $2. I also did something my grooming instructors told me not to do. I used scissors. Since mats form close to the skin, there is a risk of cutting the dog if you use scissors to remove them. In this case, I used my fingers to protect the skin and cut through the center of the mat. That allowed me to use the pick of the letter opener to loosen the mat up and separate it into smaller sections. I then held the letter opener parallel to her skin and pulled it towards me to shave the mat out. Her right ear had less matting, and she allowed me to remove it without much complaint. The left ear was far more matted. Taimyr allowed me to work on it, but vocalized a few snorts and whines to let me know that it was uncomfortable. Once I cut through the center of the mat, I was able to understand the problem. I tried to show it to the camera, but it did not show up very well. The mat had formed around a scab. Apparently, either Rojo or Thrud had bitten her ear at some point. Dogs often socially correct other pack members by nipping their ears or snouts. Taimyr often forgets her manners and gets corrected. I worked gently to remove the mat in small sections. Once it was out, I did see the underlying sore spot was mostly healed. After 2.5 hours of washing, drying, and trimming, Taimyr was ready for her final brushing. Since I do brush her daily at home, I just gave her a quick once-over before taking her outside to enjoy her new dog run while I cleaned up the space. Remember the old tin bucket that I started putting her hair in at the beginning? It is now full. I believe it holds 1.5 gallons of liquid. I even compressed the hair down a bit to make it all fit. Huskies are a lot of work to maintain their coats, but I wouldn't trade my girl for the world, even when she does try to break my nose. See you next time.